Hello, I'm Liz, and you're listening to the podcast where we are focused on creating the leadership landscape that inspires exceptional performance. Sounds good? I think so. Today we challenge our thinking on how to increase our success through that attention to our leadership. This is the Guru Code podcast, and I'll offer you a warm welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. So leadership in business equals increasing the odds in your favour. Look at any successful business person and you will find leadership running through their veins like a stick of rock from Brighton. You can have structures, policies, procedures as thick as your arm, but you only have to look at some of the big names that we have lost over the time or have taken a downward turn in their fortunes. Now, I might not have the insider information. However, I do have experience of seeing teams and services that were really buoyant and really successful, almost changing shape overnight. And the one thing that had changed was the leadership. See, now we all know, even though you're not conscious of it, but we all know when we've been in the presence of a true leader. So tell me if this resonates with you. You may not, at the time, connect the dots and logically say, now this is a true leader. No, I'm not saying you'll think it. I'm really not, because I don't think you will. I think what you do is experience it. It's when you're introduced to somebody and you don't actually need to have their name badge. You don't need to have their title or their role added to the introduction. Instead, we find ourselves being really curious about who is this person? What is it that's making them tick? You've just been so interested in them. We find ourselves listening and absorbing contentedly. You know, it's like everything else around you becomes white noise and more muffled because you're holding on, you're listening to every syllable that's coming from this person. We almost sort of experience a sense of calm and being grounded or metaphorically held. Yet inside, the sparks are going off, going, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And there's a real sense of wanting to take action. So if you just take a moment, just see what they bring to the table. A great leader shows real interest and curiosity in the person that they're with at that time. It sounds almost romantic, doesn't it? And I don't mean it as in a gush romantic novelty type thing, but there's a deeper level of connection. A great leader will want to explore and expand ideas, stretching and inspiring those boundaries of possibility and investing confidence in the person. They'll be really wanting that other person to grow during that conversation, during that time together. They show genuine excitement for another's experiences and achievements, you know, promoting somebody else's abilities above and beyond themselves, but publicly, not just quietly, just publicly, because it's like everything else becomes bigger than them. They're not in there as a competition. There's a real solidness about the person when they've found their true leadership. They have this amazing ability to conclude the decision-making process, you know, really fast and without friction. And that's testament to high levels of self-awareness. You know, is when you can do that and people just go, it's an agreement. So they're always coming from an agreement frame, a frame of possibility and team. So to me, that just says so much about the individual. This leads to that real calmness, that credibility, that charisma that comes with a great leader. So my question is, you know, saying all of that, what is our impact? What is your impact on your business? You see, there's been limited understanding in my personal opinion and my professional opinion of the real meaning of leadership. You know, its phenomenal potential and potency on a business is beyond measure. at times. You know, you just look at it, you think, how the heck did they ever get that? How did you get this to happen? You know, and it's almost like the leader goes, oh, I just did it. You know, there's no biggie, there's no fanfare. But today, I think there's still a real misunderstanding. I think there's still a lack of investment in pure leadership, because continuously I see trainings being amalgamated with leadership and management training bundled together, and yet there's a significant difference. There's a place for both, but I think it really does put a question mark over the training providers' acumen, because they are misleading us. Lumping those two disciplines together may feel like a bargain offer when you're investing and you're starting out, you know, but actually long term it's a real expensive error. We manage systems, we manage process, we manage the numbers, we manage how we translate those numbers, but we can't manage people who are thinking, living, breathing things. You can't manage. You can only influence through your beliefs, your values, and that emotional intelligence, the energy banks from inside you. You can only influence people. This may sound a bit wishy-washy for some more traditionalists or those that have yet to develop emotionally on their own emotional intelligence. However, every organisation, even the company of one, has an emotional culture. So what is your emotional culture of your business? What is your business's emotional culture? That's a big question, and it's worth taking time over. Is it warm and welcoming and inspirational, or is it one that's coming from a framework of fear, of opposition, of control, of suppression, of comparison? You know, don't be fooled into thinking we need a huge amount of staff before we start looking at this stuff and what the cultural impact is on our business, and that nobody will notice. Your customers will notice. The people you engage with in your network will notice. So your ability to understand and manage your emotional responses to everyday situations, even where it all starts. So let's not pretend. Have a cup of coffee, sit down, and really map out, how do people experience your business? How do people experience you? This is not about you becoming perfect. This is absolutely about you starting that work. Emotional intelligence. What do I mean by emotional intelligence? Because again, it's one of those things that has become sort of a bit of a buzzy word, hasn't it? But we as humans are one great bucket of emotion. And when we allow emotional flooding to come in, we're less than intelligent, because we make the most bizarre decisions based on how we feel in that very moment. Whether it's happy, sad, excited, frightened, pain, love, loss, rejection, doubt, and the list goes on. But these are the frameworks that we seem to sort of operate from, depending on our emotion. And that's where we want to become intelligent, because it's not as scary as it sounds. You know, it's not starting again, it's just understanding what you've already got. It begins with you investing in and valuing how you operate. Okay? We're huge creatures of habit. Okay? And habit means we need to do things consistently and repetitively. So if we're not going to address this, you can see how it can get out of hand. When we are consistent, we see results, good and bad. Okay? So this is where I'm really driving home the point, to become conscious of it, because all of our outcomes are exactly what they should be, because they'll have come from this basis. Okay? So now, it doesn't take a genius to really figure out that consistency of effort and behaviours in your business, when they are aligned to your goal, will result in your goal and your success. So start small and look at your consistent habits and the results that you are currently seeing. How might adjusting those habits be more fruitful to you emotionally and in your business? It's worth that cup of coffee, isn't it? Are you a reluctant leader? Let's just bring it into the arena, because not everybody either sees themselves as a leader or wants to be seen as a leader. I'd probably go as far as saying a significant high percentage of business owners are reluctant leaders. They may have worked their way up through a company because they were good at what they do. They have chosen a path into self-employment and being their own boss because they didn't like to be managed. The most spoken about challenges for years from my clients is their own difficulties with motivating themselves. The decision making, the weight and the strain of taking the decision making on, the organisational skills, of sort of time management, not to mention the pressure of expectation of those around them. Now, I had a pleasure of speaking to a great business owner not so long ago as a result of a networking follow-up call, who proudly announced that she didn't relate to being a leader of anything. Now, I have to say, a ship without a captain is all at the helm is also known as a driftwood, in my view. Because if you're not leading on decision making, if you're not able to self-motivate, if you're not willing to look at how you organise and prioritise, where does your ship go? What direction does your ship end up? Are you going to end up where you had planned to? I would say no. So as much as we might be reluctant to take that ownership, think back. If you're somebody who became your own boss and took on the role or the wish and the dream of becoming your own boss and having your own empire, it's because you wanted to have that autonomy, and yet it's the one thing that we don't take responsibility for. The two don't go together, do they? See, self-leadership is always first. Okay, if you don't lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else. So the ability to lead yourself is the foundation of any successful person. I don't care whether you're, in business or whether you are just, I don't know, even retired. It doesn't matter. It's about that self-leadership being the foundation of you having a successful life. Look at any of the notable publications and authorities in the field for your evidence. The author Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Brené Brown, Dare to Lead. All three that are named throughout the decades of this writing, have all spoken about the importance of self-awareness and leadership in one form or another in order to become successful. They all have a clear message that success in life begins with leading yourself first. SME leaders are not alone in their reluctance to accept the position or accountability, let alone misunderstanding the true relevance of the impact of their leadership and what it does in achieving the goals that you've set yourself. The public sector and large organisations invest large sums of money into their leadership teams, and I put leadership teams in quotation marks. Many of these leaders are made up of very highly qualified individuals, really clever people. They know their stuff inside and out. They could go on Mastermind, Beat the Chaser, whatever it is, and they'll come out on top. They are good in their expert in their chosen field. But sticking them into a classroom for a few days on a one-off course does not miraculously turn them into great leaders. We must embrace and see the potential and work on understanding and expanding our leadership qualities willingly. It's not that they haven't got it in there, it's that they don't value it. And that's the big key for us. We all have this in us, but we need to be willing to bring it out and with us. Not just for ourselves, but for the wider impact and the legacy that you want to leave. And I guarantee every single one of us would want to leave something behind on this planet. So theory to practice. I'm always talking about theory to practice. It might be my professional background as a nurse, I don't know. But theories are all very useful. But to know which category of your style of leadership fits puts it more into the world of a fashion accessory in my book. I've sat through so many interviews listening to eager, wide-eyed and excited new leaders wax lyrical about their style of leadership in order to motivate staff, get tasks done and make it all successful. And yet one interviewee announced his style as Machiavellian in style. I actually felt my toenails recoil as a large question mark went down on my sheet of paper placed over what is this person's real values under here, because it makes me question whether they actually understand what Machiavellian style is, because not only is it very ancient, but it really, I think, would probably, if you looked at it in an HR situation, probably put you at risk of being sued for bullying. But, yes, they might have joked, but what is it they say? Never a truer word was said in jest. They didn't get the job, let's put it that way. But when you really start to think like a leader in your own business, your business will respond by translating those thoughts into purposeful actions, and the results will follow. That's the strangest thing. It's like that domino effect. You tip it over and everything will fall. It will fall into place. And that to me is just magic in action. Stop looking at leadership as a qualification to study in exchange for a certificate or a shiny bloody stamp. Instead, study yourself. Work on yourself. The world needs emotionally intelligent leaders in business more than ever. It does not require people in leadership roles. That went out with the arc. I hope this has offered you some valuable food for thought about yourself, consideration to take a fresh look at yourself and how you're performing in your business, and maybe sort of start to think about, where you invest your time, your energy, those moments when you have time to reflect on where you're going. You're very welcome to download if this has tickled your interest. Very, very welcome to download and complete the PDF that goes with this podcast. It's on my website, so do head over to my website. It's www.thegurucompany.co.uk. It's designed to help you explore and deepen your understanding of what small adjustments can be made, and they're small adjustments just to start you off, just to get these results visible, and maybe even convince you that it's worth taking it a bit further. I'm always delighted to welcome and receive feedback and comments and your thoughts and takeaways. So please do feel free to drop me an email. It's liz@thegurucode.co.uk. I'll always come back to everybody. Let me know maybe if I've left something out that you wish that I'd covered. Anyway, I'll wish you all success and happy leadership for today, and I'll be back next month. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye bye.